dear subscribers, welcome back to the part 2 of tutorial on how to cut a straight gown. I'm going to cut a lining for it. Make the lining to be the exact size of your bodice. Now I've already cut the facing for it, and I've gone ahead to join the facing at the neckline. Then after joining the facing to the bodice at the neckline, I went ahead to top stitch it. I made a tiny edge stitch on the face. We are going to stitch down by our seam allowance downward to the beginning of the vent here. Then you move below the vent by ½ inch. So let's do that quickly. I'm stitching by my 1 inch seam allowance that we left on it when we were cut. Then back stitch it. It's very important to lock your stitch when you're sewing. I already notched the midpoint of the vent. Look at it. You open it up this way. Look at the vent now. You can see there is still opening here like this. We are going to close the opening by opening it this way. Then try to align it. Then this notched part, make sure you place it at the midpoint here. Then pin it to secure it. I pinned it independent of this one. Don't pin the vent on this direction. Now we are going to stitch this place here to this point. You are going to stop just a little before you get to the middle. Start by locking your stitch. Now we are going to turn it. Let your stitching be at the same level as the other one. So can you see? So I stopped right at the middle. When we open it up, we have something like this. Can you see? So one more thing to do is that you're going to flip it to the wrong side. Try to arrange the vents. Make sure it's well aligned. Then you either pin the vents down to the skirt now and stitch, or use hemming gun. Fold it into two and put it right here, leaving some amount of it to be outside. It's this way. Once the iron is heated up and is hot, quickly remove the paper. So this is what we have at the other side of it. To cut this, I have the tutorial right on the channel. You can just click on it to see how it was cut. Just to secure it, I left 1.5 at the side seam of this skirt while I was drafting. So I already marked out my 1.5 from the waistline to the hem at both sides. What I'm going to do right now is that I'm just going to place my flange on the seam allowance, and I'll start pinning my flange by that seam allowance I left. Note that I didn't place it this way, it's going inward. I'm just going to trim so that the main skirt will still be showing. Then I still have some excess here. I'm going to trim it. I'll stitch it straight down. The next thing to do now is to match the front of parbord to this lower skirt. Stitch by ½ inch. Just repeat the same thing at the other side. I'm going to locate the bust point from the shoulder. We are just going to connect our bust dart now to the bust point. Connect it this way. If you don't know how to do this, watch our tutorial on how to take accurate body measurements to understand this issue of bust dart here and what we did to get the bust dart. I'll pin this side, so I'm going to pin the other side too. There's something I will just say about sewing the darts. When you are sewing a dart, at the tail end of your dart, when you back stitch it, you won't be able to taper it just out like this. You should not back stitch it. Just try to sew it and let it sew into nothing. Then I hope you understand what I mean, sewing into nothing. Can you see now? So you are just going to tie it this way, tie it, knot it the other time, the second time, then cut it out. By doing so, if you flip to the other side of your dart, you see that the dart is well taped out, and you see that it's disappearing into nothing. It's not poking or squeezing together. The next thing we are going to do now is to pin the shoulders together and stitch. This is the lining or the facing. This is the actual back. This is the lining of the front, the facing of the front. This is the actual. So you are going to align the facing to the facing and the shoulder to the shoulder. The seam line must match if you are using this method. Let's go and stitch both together now. Now stitch by seam allowance, starting seam allowance. Check it at the other side to make sure the shoulder seam align. Can you see? So now we are going to open up this seam and give it a good press. Let's join the other side. Look at these seam lines, neckline seam. It's very important. Don't stitch like this so that it won't affect the alignment. Don't stitch it this way. If you notice, I stitched the other one like this. You're going to stitch it towards this direction so that the foot can even press these points like that. If you stitch it backward, the alignment may shift. Okay, let's check it. You can see that it's well aligned. The next thing we are going to do right now is that this facing, flip it this way to the wrong side, then stitch it down from the armhole area. I've pinned it and trimmed off the excess I have at that armhole region. Stitch it right down on the sewing machine now and attach my sleeve to it. To attach your sleeve, if you look at this now, you see that one of this sleeve, one part is coming out, the other is coming in. The one that curved inward is the inner sleeve or front sleeve. The one outward is the outer sleeve. Make sure you confirm your inner and outer sleeve before you attach to your garment so that you won't go and attach the wrong side to your garment. Now I want to confirm it on my garment. This one that is inward, that curved inward, must be fixed to the front armhole or your front bodies on your garment. This is the front armhole, this is the back armhole. I'm going to locate the midpoint this way and make sure that I match the front armhole, match the notch to this shoulder. Make sure that the front sleeve is towards the front arm. You see that this is the front sleeve and this is the back sleeve. So this one should be fixed this way, back to back, front to front. I hope that. Now we are going to attach the sleeve to it by passing seam. Note that when I stitch the facing to the armhole area the other time, I didn't use up to ½ inch. You're going to use lesser than that. You can use 0.25 so that your seam will not end up showing outside the dress when you finally attach your sleeve. Then make sure you adjust your cloth from behind so that you'll be sure that anything has not been cut into the seam. Right now I'm pressing the armhole, the sleeve that I just stitched to the armhole. You have to do that so that it will lay flat. There. Now it's time to place our measurement. Right on the chest line, place your bust measurement. 36 divided by 2, we have 18. This is where our 18 is. Measure the remaining this way. we have 2.5 divided by 2, that is 1.25. So we are going to mark it here, 1.25. Mark the same thing at the other. Go over to the waist. The waist is 30. 30 divided by 2. I have my 15 here, divided by 2. The remaining is 3.5. 3.5 divided by 2, that is 1.75. We are going to mark our 1.75 here. To the hip measurement, 25 inches from the shoulder is the hip length. So you measure from your shoulder, then divide the hip measurement by 2. 41 divided by 2, we have 20.5. So we are going to mark it here. Measure what you have left. We have 3 left. 3 divided by 2, that is 1.5. We mark it here. Because this dress is a straight gown, it's not a pencil gown, it's a gown. What we have at the hip area, we are going to transfer it to the hem. We have 1.5 left at the hip area. Transfer the measurement to the other side also. Now we want to connect it. Connect the waist to the hip area, then connect it to the waist to the bust. With a straight line, connect the hip to the hem. We are going to connect this to the hem this way. The same thing at the other side. Make sure you back stitch when you are starting. At this armpit area, make sure that this seam that attach the sleeve to the body is facing the sleeve, is towards the sleeve. If it is like this, your customer will have issues raising their hand up. So make sure you are arranging your Now I'm at the end of it. I'm going to remove my pin, then stitch, then lock my stitch by back stitching. Thank you very much. We have come to the end of this tutorial. If you find it helpful, please make sure you like my video, share and subscribe to my channel. Put on the notification bell so that you get notified each time I upload a new video.